Welcome to Energising Life with AKR Fitness. I'm your new host, Lindsay, and joining me today we have Mike.
Hello again.
And our very own coach, Fabio.
Yo.
First episode, Fabio. How are we feeling?
Not as nervous as I thought it was going to be, so don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll soon find out.
Good. Before we get in, we are in season 5, episode 33. And today we're going to talk about what's coming up in the next 8 weeks and, of course, our listener questions.
Yay.
Yay! So, Fabio.
Me?
Tell us a little bit about you and what brought you into the whole coaching scene.
Wow. It's a long answer, but I'll make it as short as possible for everyone. Essentially, I've just been into exercising or some form of fitness. I'll kind of hark back to the first episodes. I've also been traveling and found out about myself as well. So suck it, Jace. But that wasn't what led me to being a coach. I've been active my whole life. I've been into like karate, football, rugby, basketball, climbing, cycling. I think just being active was always just an urge that I had. I worked in hospitality most of my life, working for my family. Actually gave me a lot of skills that are really transferable now that I think about it into coaching. Basically, I had a really early midlife, quarter life crisis. Third life, like late 20s, where I was just like, didn't know what I was doing with myself. I felt like I didn't have like a trajectory or like a purpose. So I met my now fiance, Aggie, shout out. Brownie points.
Yep.
And I went back to school. I just thought, if I'm going to study something, what would it be? I was like, exercise. At least I enjoy it, so I might engage with it a bit more. Going through that, I got my qualifications, my HNC and HND. I think I bumped into you walking my dog after I just got my HND.
You did?
As fate would have it.
Yeah, so you guys knew each other before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. That's for the late night episodes. We'd had some, I'll clarify. We had some like social interactions like out in town and stuff like that previously, like friends of friends and things like that. And then just got speaking to Lindsay. Mm-hmm. She kind of mentioned the fact that you were potentially looking for some new coaches or a new coach. So I like quickly ran home, reformatted my first CV, probably that I'd put out in like ever, because I've worked with my family for so long. And I just waited to see the ad go live because I didn't want to preempt it too much. But as soon as I saw it on Facebook, I applied and I came in the next day personally to just kind of show you who I am. And I guess from there, the rest kind of history. It was like I was going to uni and working here part-time through the whole process. And yeah, now I'm a coach, I guess.
Just to pull you back a little bit, when you were going through that quarter life crisis, what made you decide to go down the coaching route?
It was literally just like, I have no qualifications. I was what would we say? I was an independent child when it came to schooling.
What do you mean you didn't go?
I did to a degree. I just I didn't engage. I felt like, not to like poo-poo on teachers, but I learned totally differently to how a lot of kids did, and I didn't ever feel like I was engaged. The annoying thing was for my teachers, I did really well on all my exams, even though I would like
one of those lucky ones.
Yeah. Because I knew what to do, but the learning process was not how I learn. I learned more practically or like visually and things like that. And sitting in a class at a table didn't suit me very much.
Okay.
So I'm sure you might be able to.
We got there.
Yeah, we got there. So for me, if I was like going to do something with my life, I knew I had to go down some form of academia. And I was like, if I'm going to do it, it needs to be something that I am interested in. And so exercise or health and fitness was the choice. Wasn't quite what I expected, but I was like, right, I've made my bed, I'm lying in it. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of spurred me on. So a skill I didn't really feel I thought I had would be like coaching people, but it seems to be something that comes kind of more naturally to me.
You said there was sort of a crossover between what you've learned in the hospitality and what you can put in your coaching. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I guess hospitality, you're providing a service, so you're wanting, first of all, you've got to connect with people, because especially in restaurants, you've got a really short period of time to do so. So you learn how to engage with someone, give them a little bit of what they want, and hopefully learn how to communicate what their needs are in that context, and then turning that into a coaching element. It works really well. And it's only upon reflection and speaking with Mike previously that I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of what we're doing here, but the skill set and the service I'm providing is different.
So building rapport quickly and being able to make people feel at ease.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think, from my part, being a good host, I think is where it starts a lot of the time in a gym, or certainly the gym we want to be, or that we are, and with welcoming people who might be intimidated and things like that. It's just being a good host.
Very welcoming.
I think it's a weird juxtaposition, like visually when you look at me. Like, I think a lot of people might think, oh, heavily tattooed, I might look quite intimidating.
You look like a cute elf today though, Fabio.
Hey,
so
go on.
For our listeners that are watching on YouTube, you can tell that we've maybe went a bit Christmassy today. We're 5 days out of Christmas.
Yeah, by the time this airs, something like that. So
yeah, Mike's got a little sparkly top on there.
There we go.
Beautiful. I think by the time this comes out, I still won't have done my Christmas shopping.
Last minute panic.
Christmas Day, is it?
No, diamonds are made under pressure and sometimes bought when you run out of ideas.
You've just lost those brownie points.
So just bringing it back, we met in the park, you put your application in for becoming a coach at AKR. Tell us about the process from that moment then. That's about 2 years ago, 2.5 years?
I was August 26th, I think I started, or 26th or 27th, or September.
Yeah, in 2019.
Yeah, 2019, the initial onboarding process was like being a member, partaking in a lot of the sessions. So I guess you guys, myself, and the members get a little feel for us. And that turned into like 2 months of shadowing. For those that are watching, I'm doing quote marks then, where we kind of joined in with some of the sessions. Maybe were persuaded to take elements of the coaching process. Took a little longer than I would have liked it to though, Michael. Like 2 months of being like, oh God, do I have this job or not? What's going on? I'm like, good enough. But luckily for Mike, there was a couple of us that were, I guess, applying for the position, and Mike was spoiled for choice, I think. They didn't know what to do.
So I hired them both.
Shout out to Matthew Bello. And then from there, I was like, it was a really hard process for me, to be honest. It was a quick change of lifestyle. I was gone from working late nights, staying up late, socializing a lot, to then going to university, changing my job, getting up at 5 a.m, coming in here. And that was a hard process, especially doing uni and this and family life on the side. And as well as because I was part-time, so every time I felt I was coming in from uni, I was like a bit erratic and chasing my tail and things. Then obviously lockdown hit a few months into that, and a lot of my coaching was done online. So I've actually only been full-time personal coaching, like in person, for I think from June this year has been my longest stint, because otherwise it was like a couple months in between lockdowns. So I get the majority of mine done. My coaching was probably done as a mixture of outdoor and online stuff. So I've only actually been coaching in person full time for about 6 months. By June.
Yeah, there would have been
a few months before it. Like there was a period of like 3 months.
Yeah, you would have had 4 months at the end of last year,
yeah.
And then it was the end of April that we opened this year.
Then it went back in.
Plus, say 4 months at the end of 2019.
Yeah.
So not long stints, but bits and pieces, and then exposed to different things, I guess, with the online and the outdoors and the.
As a way to say, how did you find the online then?
Well, anyone who was in an online session with me, I mimic the delay. Like, it was an absolute nightmare. Don't buy a Google Chrome laptop, is all I'm saying to anyone out there. Don't know if we're allowed to mention product names in there. I've done it already, sorry guys.
That's why you're here.
Yeah. But it was a hard process, but doing it really honed my ability to coach and look out for certain elements of movement, or finding the right cues and things, because you don't have. I'm quite a tactile coach. I like to get in about and manipulate people if they're comfortable with that. So learning how to use my words a little better was a real game changer for me when it came into coaching, coming back into the gym. And I feel I've just been going from strength to strength since then.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You got anything else to add there, Michael?
No, I think good.
Still
good
enjoying
little
it?
introduction.
Still enjoying the process?
Yeah, it's every day's a learning day. It's just always trying to be a little bit better than where we were, and just learning new things, and hopefully providing a quality service to everyone that walks through the door.
I would say just one more thing. Is it very different from being in the hospitality where you were maybe a part of a team there, but you're also a part of a team in AKR? Is there a difference between the two?
Oh, big time. Biggest difference. Like, best working environment I've been in. It's really supportive. The camaraderie is great, but with that, our colleagues, their work team is great, but as an extension of that, our members are a part of that team as well.
Yeah.
Personally, for me as a coach, they're a big part of what we do here, obviously, and why we are here doing what we do. And I feel like they're an extension of like us as coaches.
Fully supported right round.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for sharing, Fabio.
No problem.
Thank you.
I did say as many times as I thought I was going to, but I heard it a few times.
Thanks, Fabio.
You're welcome.
Mike, tell us what's coming up in the next 8 weeks of season 5 then.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground, I feel, in the previous 32 episodes. With this season falling mid-late December to mid-late February, it's a time where people typically, traditionally, historically engage in a new health kick. Once we get past December, I guess. And there's so many wacky approaches, desperate approaches, ill-informed approaches that take place. And what I want to do was have a season just helping the listener avoid misinformation or protect themselves from misinformation, and hopefully take a more sound approach to the health and fitness. So we're going to talk about how we get fooled by our own brain. Everybody does, through biases and heuristics and things. We're going to talk a little bit about the scientific method and being evidence-based and principles and things like that. So hopefully it's more exciting than how I just described it there. And we're also going to have some more member interviews. But really, it's just like coming into the new year, how can I take an intelligent approach to things and protect myself from some of the wackier ideas that ultimately can end up doing more harm than good.
It's almost sieving through all the nonsense and finding something that works for you for longer than just 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's almost giving people that sieve to bring on it's giving them the toolkit to say, okay, well, how can I tell if this is BS or if this is a sound approach?
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're interested in all of this, Mike.
I like this stuff. There's maybe a lot of what we've spoken about in the podcast is stuff I like to talk about, like motivation, behavior change. But this as well is just like almost how do I be a better thinker? So we'll get into some of that in the weeks to come.
Have you always been like that?
No.
Did it take a while to figure it all out?
I think I've always been interested in learning, and when I've gone down particular pathways that haven't been helpful, then I begin to learn and reflect on my own thinking and my own decision making. I think that the fancy term is, I'm going to sound so bad saying this now, but it's called metacognition. It's thinking about thinking. And so if my thinking to get me a certain place hasn't served me, then I'm thinking about my thinking.
Why is it not?
Yeah. And how do I be a better thinker?
Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision you made, or was that just something that evolved naturally for you?
I don't remember really making a conscious decision. I think I just got exposed to some ideas that helped me, develop an interest or whatever.
Natural curiosity.
Yeah. So over the next 8 weeks, hopefully the listener can take away some tools and tactics to help them in the new year with the nonsense that's about to come.
Exactly. And hopefully we can bring it to life with some good examples and some good member interviews as well.
Good. Looking forward to it.
Indeed.
Will you be listening?
Always. Every Monday.
Okay, doc. So, as always, in the first episode of the new season, we will go into some listener questions. So prepare yourself, boys.
Prepared.
All right. Question number 1. I eat because I'm unhappy, but then I'm unhappy because I eat. Feel a bit daft saying this out loud, to be honest, but it's something I'm really struggling with at the moment. Thoughts, feelings on this one?
Do you want to go with it, Fabio?
Yeah. Yes and no. I understand that position that people are in. Luckily for myself, I've not been in that position, so I don't know if I have a viewpoint that might be of value. But for me, I think you're probably going to lead into it, how the relationship with food always is going to be a major factor with that. Some people kind of go in the opposite direction and they're unhappy and they don't eat and they use that as a punishment tool. And I'm assuming like those who do eat almost do it in the same kind of way. Bar that, because of my lack of experience with it, I feel like a little out of my depth with that one, personally.
So, well, for me, as I've touched on, I think in several of the episodes in the past, I've gone through a spell early in my life where I had a really bad relationship with food, and I was like really rigid with my eating habits, and then binging and trying to be ever more rigid and making it worse and worse and worse, which ties into what I spoke about earlier about like choosing smarter, better informed approaches to what I was doing in the first place. But someone can have that relationship with food without being a rigid eater. And I think where I wanted to go with this one was like some of the things that I think are most difficult in life are difficult because of just who we are as human beings. So we have evolved from hunter-gatherer tribes, and our brain has evolved a certain way, and we're still essentially that caveman hunter-gatherer animal living in a totally different world. So food is inherently rewarding to us, as are other things, because if eating wasn't satisfying, wasn't inherently rewarding, our ancestors might not have eaten enough or taken the risks that were required to obtain food, and we might not be continuing as a species today. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And in particular, fat, salty, and sweet tastes are rewarding to us. Again, so that we can, fat because they're calorie dense, sweet because it's a source of energy, salty because it helps with the fluid balance in the body. So everybody is naturally inclined to pursue these foods. Mm-hmm. The difference nowadays is that they're ubiquitous. They're everywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. Everywhere. Yeah. And that's just one way of rewarding ourselves, though. So for another person, the behavior might not be food. It might be drugs, or it might be
alcohol.
It might be
Netflix.
Mindless entertainment. It might be in relationships with other people, things like that. And it's these things that are rewarding because they give us this short-term boost. Mm-hmm. So I think the first thing is like accept that that's going to happen, and then it's the reason for feeling sad afterwards is because it was just a short-term lift. It didn't really fulfill you, or often it didn't resolve the issue that you actually had in the moment. So it's a coping mechanism, right? So you feel something and you want something to give you a lift. Mm-hmm. You haven't really identified what you feel. You're just like low. So you reach out for something that will give you a lift. And, as Fabio said, for some person that might be starving. Yeah. The next person it's eating. The next person it's something else. Mm-hmm. So you go for that thing that gives you the lift, but it didn't actually resolve what it was you were feeling in the first place. It's just a momentary high for your brain, essentially. So one thing, and I think first thing I would want to say is acknowledge that this stuff's always going to be hard because of our genetic evolutionary history as an animal.
Like, are we ever able to overcome that feeling?
Yeah, we're not robots, and that's going to be a theme for some of this this season. So one approach though that I think could be useful for some people is to identify what it is that we're feeling in the first place. So I know myself, right? If I'm physically tired and burned out, I'll find myself eating. It's like I'm trying to eat myself into better energy. But if I can stop, which I have done sometimes, and it's a practice, if I can stop myself and say, I'm tired, well, then all of a sudden, the solution to that problem is not food, right? It's go lie down for a while, have a nap, or have a bath, or have a time out, or a break, or something.
I think it's being able to stop, and just before that happens, and that takes practice.
Yeah, it's what am I feeling? Lonely, tired, angry, stressed, depressed. Like if it's lonely, do you know what? Maybe I need to go phone a friend, or I'm burnt out. Maybe it's fresh air and a walk.
No, I'm just kind of trying to reflect that situation, something maybe I've been through in my life. And what comes to mind is when I gave up smoking, it was a habit. So if you're eating when you're unhappy, it becomes habitual. So it's like, again, identifying and trying to break the habit, or identifying what are your triggers. And then from there, you can take steps. Easier said than done, clearly. But when you're feeling those emotions, right, be like you say, label it, or maybe take a step away, and then if you still feel like eating in 10, 20 minutes time, maybe do so. But identifying those habits and trying to break the circuit. Like for me, it was certain actions I did was where I would smoke. So I started like either cutting those actions out or identifying and being a little bit stronger in those moments.
Do you know what? Mentioning smoking, there was a study I read where they educate people to do what they called surfing the urge, and it was a giving up smoking study. So when they felt like they needed a cigarette, it was to just go and like be with that urge for a moment and explore it and recognize that, hold on, you can feel it but not necessarily take the next step into action. And for me, I used to, when I was like in a bad place with binge eating, little film reference for people out there, but this is one I used to always think of from the Matrix film. So I'll try and describe it. Hopefully the listener has seen the film.
I'm trying to imagine what you're going with when I know the film.
So anyway, Neo gets the bug put inside his stomach, and he's in a car. I think he gets kidnapped by like Trinity, and they're in a car and it's pouring with rain, and he's like, what on earth is going on here? Stop the car. And he opens the door and he goes to leave. And Trinity says to him, Neo, you've been down that road. You know where it goes. And when I used to like nip across to the shop and be like, right, what am I buying? Cake, chocolate,
game on,
whatever. I'd be standing there looking at all the food, and like there's another part of my brain going, you know where this is going, right? Do you know, like if I buy 5 cookies, I know how many of those cookies I'm eating, right? So I know where the path goes. So it's like, do you really want to, like, you know where this path is going? And don't get me wrong, sometimes I walk down that path anyway, but with time I changed. And I think it's just like an awareness or a mindfulness to say, right, what am I feeling? And what can I do to help with this? And by the way, you don't need to fight your feelings. It's okay to feel sad and unhappy. Sometimes it's just like, man, I feel sad sometimes. I think for me, too often in the past, I try and fix what I'm feeling. When actually sometimes it's just like, be with the feeling, or distance yourself, like you are not the feeling. I can feel sad, but it doesn't mean I don't need to like become sad, if you will.
Look at the feeling as a passing car almost. Just let it go past. You can see it, recognize it, but don't hold on to it.
Yeah. There's a great book. What's the book called? Is it called The Happiness Trap? It might be called The Happiness Trap.
With a big smiley face on the front.
It's about this therapy called Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, ACT, and it is about that. It's like recognizing that you can have, you're a human animal, you can have all the feelings. Try and identify what it is you're feeling. Try and imagine you're watching a character on the TV with that feeling, so you're creating some distance between yourself and the feeling. Surf the urge and ask yourself, is there another solution to this what I'm feeling, if indeed there needs to be a solution. It might just be sitting with it. Again, I feel like I say this on every single season of the podcast. It all sounds very like
do this and it'll be
elegant and whatever.
It's multifaceted.
And how many times I still muck up and struggle and things, because we're human. So accept that and have some self-compassion.
I think that goes nicely into the next one, talking about recognizing feelings. So any words of wisdom for anyone feeling a bit intimidated by being around fitter people? Always compare myself to what others are capable of doing and end up feeling a bit naff about myself sometimes. No one's done anything to make me feel like this. I'm well aware it's in my own head. Thoughts?
It's a tough one. It's super subjective, obviously, to the individual. Personally, for me, I've gone through that as well. Like a bit of a meathead in my old days, probably still now a bit of a meathead same when it comes to my training.
You did do an hour of shoulders the other day.
I did, can't tell. But there would be an element of intimidation from people who'd be training and stronger than me. But I use that as an inspiration, not necessarily wanting to replicate what they were doing, but I was like, okay, they're training hard. Let's see if I can challenge myself here as well. But two, also internally, just like, why am I training? Am I training it to be like that person, or am I training for myself? Mm-hmm. And what are my goals? So is your goal to be like that person you feel intimidated by, or is it to be a better version of you, or go back to your reason. What's your
better
reason?
today?
Yeah, exactly that. Mm-hmm. Exactly that. Think about it internally. It seems like that's more of an external. Don't say it's almost like a motivation or an intimidation for them, because they're like viewing that person as something to aspire to, but maybe it's out of their grasp. So put it more internally and be like, why are you there personally?
Did it take you quite a while to do that, or are you still going through it?
Oh, still, but I kind of more in the mindset now of a bit like Mike. I'm haggard. I'm old. My back's joints, everything hurts.
I didn't say I was like that.
Well,
cheers. Thanks.
Well, you've alluded.
I've
to
had some niggles.
Yeah, you've had some niggles. Yeah, I had some niggles. Sore back. But I know now in my old age that I can't lift like I used to lift, and I can't lift like people that I don't say I'm intimidated by, but I'm inspired by them. So I take it as an inspiration just to keep myself moving, essentially.
Yeah, it's definitely one for the inner game. It's an inner game thing, because very few of us on the planet are going to be a Leo Messi, Michael Jordan, Usain Bolt. I don't know, you can even say Elon Musk or whatever. Like, there's always going to be someone stronger, fitter, faster, leaner than you. Like, I think there's a bit of acceptance there. The other thing, I remember, like, I can't remember if I wrote a blog on this years ago. It was definitely something I thought about. Like, when you're in these like typical gym environments, busy gyms, you've got, like, let's say you've got the powerlifting crew, right? And they're stronger than everybody else. But the bodybuilders, who are leanest, right? They look at the powerlifters and think, oh, look at them, they're all fat, chunky powerlifters. They should lose some fat. Mm-hmm. And the powerlifters are like, to the bodybuilders, oh, they might look lean, but they're weak. They can't lift. And then you've maybe got like the gymnastics mobility people who are like, God, you might be able to lift, but you can't move. You know, or bodybuilders, you look great, but you can't move. Meanwhile, they're like, man, you can move your body, but can you actually move some weight? And it goes around like this can go. Then you've got the sports specific people who are like, check you, like, try to get strong. Why don't you use it to win a game? Or you look great, but how about performing?
It's all around us.
I could run faster than you. Mm-hmm. And that's the nature of it. There's always there's different ways of training, different. It's like Fabio said. It's like, what does fitness mean for you, and where are you at? And accept, like, very few people on the planet are ever going to be the best in the world at what they do. So there's always going to be someone. The other thing I did think about it was this idea of looking up and comparing down, because we can do this in our own, like take the gym out of it. There's always someone who's got a bigger house or a nicer car or better fashion sense or more friends or nicer friends or better family, or I don't know what the things are. But equally, there's always people who are way, way, way worse off. Mm-hmm. And we'll maybe come to it in another episode, but I think spending some time thinking about what you are grateful for rather than looking at what other people have that you don't is a very valuable practice.
I think it's really important as well just to remember, like, where, like you said, where you are in your journey, and don't be disheartened by that. Like, if you're just starting out and you're, stepping foot back in the gym and you're seeing all these fit people that you think are way better than you, don't let that stop you. Because if you stop, you're going nowhere. Like, you just got to keep chipping away, showing up, and it'll come to whatever that is for you.
Because you don't know what those people's aspirations or goals are. They might not have anything else in their life to do but train and eat and sleep, and they don't have any other life like struggles or what's the word I'm looking for?
Challenges
and obstacles in the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you've got to do you.
Oh, it's interesting on that. I've got a couple of points. I'm going to hope to remember both. But on that, I was watching recently the Will Smith thing on YouTube, Best Shape of My Life.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've not seen it, but I know of it.
I was kind of like, I've always liked Will Smith, and I'm not here to criticize Will Smith, but
Not anymore.
essentially, like the documentary changed direction during it, but he decided he was going to get in the best shape of his life, and so he moves to Dubai for a month, and he's got his own personal trainer and his own chef, and it's all that sort of stuff. So again, like, you don't know what your life looks like compared to the person that you're envious of. The other thing is, you don't know what that person's journey has been, because we've a few times said to members, like, they maybe marvel at one of the other people in the gym. You say, well, that person, when they came in, they weren't like that. Every master was once a disaster. Everyone starts somewhere.
Nice. Happy with those? Ready to move on?
Yeah, hopefully there was some value for someone in there.
Okay. Question number 3. How do we keep moving forward in the fitness journey? I feel sometimes I reach a plateau. This happens in other parts of my life too. I keep going to the gym, I work hard enough, but I don't think I move forward. Or maybe I don't see it. I may lift heavier, but mentally I'm not progressing. Not sure if this is a problem of measuring systems or actually mental state. That's a big one.
It is. Where to start? I was actually going to say it kind of ties into the question coming after this, but not like I've seen them or anything. But for me, I've literally just gone through this myself. It happens periodically, but up until like a month and a half, 2 months ago, my training just plateaued completely. Energy was low, weights weren't moving right, everything was a struggle. I had to force myself to come into the gym. That being said, because I've had a fair amount of history or like experience of training, I used that opportunity of plateauing to diversify what fitness meant to me, and I challenged myself to something new. I took up bouldering down at the beach, Transition Extreme, set myself a new challenge, and that inspired me to move myself in a slightly different way. And then my motivation for my work changed, and my training stimulus has changed as well. I started working on maybe weaker areas, and I saw improvement there, and that inspired me to push myself a little harder through my sessions, and now I'm probably training better than I have done in the last 12 months.
So you've seen your plateau as almost like a reset, a restart to learn a new skill?
So it's like your body almost telling you, right, you've kind of done this to death. Where's your next step? Or how are you going to recover from this? Or like, it doesn't always have to be 100 miles an hour in what you're doing, because again, leading to the next question, you need that time away. But I think finding potentially a new challenge with your fitness is a good way of sidestepping that, and then you can have a new focus, and then all kind of tie back in together.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. What would I add? I would add that I think it's normal to have seasons in your life, and especially in fitness. I've gone through a spell where apparently I'm haggard, and it's not been my strongest season physically. But like, for me, exercise is just like a basic need, like sleep and food. So I will do it. I will keep training. I'll maybe, if I've got a niggle, or if I'm not, feeling so well, maybe train lighter or whatever. But I'll just train, and I'll know that there'll be a stronger season coming. So it could be that it's just a phase. The other thing I think is there's value in taking a step back and asking like what you're doing it for, and what fitness and moving forwards means to you. Because there's a part of it, like there's a bit of an unwritten lie in the fitness industry where you go to a personal trainer and they're writing down how much you're squatting and deadlift each week, and you've seen the progress. But if you've been training for a couple of years, like there's no way that you just keep adding like 5 kilos on your squat and deadlift for the rest of your life.
Pressing 1,000 kilos.
Yeah. Most of it is limiting the effects of aging and lifestyle and however you want to live, and just being fit and healthy and enjoying the journey. So I think there's a part of that kind of like what does fitness mean to you? What are you doing it for in the first place? if you're not always motivated and feeling forward, guess what? That's normal. If you need to mix it up, like Fabio said, I think that's a useful thing. But and also what is fitness? I think the question did say, like, is it a measuring issue?
Yeah.
Well, what is it that you're trying to move forward with? Because again, as Fabio's touched on, you could move forward in getting stronger. You could move forward in developing a skill or a technique or something. It could be body composition. It could be, there's so many different ways. It could be sports, bouldering, whatever. There's so many different ways. Like, fitness is so broad. So I think, I'm not sure if that's helpful, but I think there's a few ways to look at it. I think it's too easy just to think, I need to be getting better at this for the rest of your life. I'm not sure that's...
So maybe for that listener, just taking time to sit down and reassess what it is they're doing it for.
Yeah. What does it mean to them? And I was actually going to say, what would success look like? But remember, like, success is the day to day.
Yeah.
Like, it's the journey every day. If like, I'm not moving forward with my fitness. Well, did you work out today and did you feel better today? Like, that's valuable all by itself. You don't need to be stronger, and it can feel it can feel demoralizing. Like, again, I'm in a stage with my fitness where I've been way fitter before, and in some respects, man, I used to be able to lift way heavier than that. But so what? I'm going to go through all different phases and seasons, and it's just about being happy and energized day to day for me, ultimately.
I think for me, one, I'm just looking at the poster across there where it has your plan versus reality. Everyone expects when they start their fitness journey, I'm going to start at this level and I will move my way through to the top of that level or up the mountain. When really you're going to hit valleys, troughs, you're going to hit a rock slide. You've got to deal with all those issues as they come up. And expecting exponential growth with what you're doing is just, to call it what it is, it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
And you need to be prepared for those low moments.
And it's no different from anything else in your life. Your career is probably the same. If you were to play a musical instrument, or you have times where your relationships are really on point and then not so well.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same.
Well, just talking like life there, you plan in holidays in life to take a break from the mundane routine. So maybe zooming out of the year and putting in breaks in the training throughout the year so you're prepared for that when it comes.
100%.
Yeah. That's something I definitely had to do during like the lockdowns, where I was just like a runaway train.
Yeah.
I was like, actually, I'm going to train for 6 weeks and then take a rest week, and 6 weeks and a rest week.
Good.
I think so.
That takes us on to the next one. It's quite similar.
Yeah.
How do you learn to allow yourself not to go to the gym? I have the need to go even when I'm completely shattered. I'm burning out at work, and coming helps my mental health. However, I work a lot and I'm physically exhausted, but I can't allow myself a rest day. I feel too guilty.
Guilty is an interesting word there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a looking again at, like, I'd be asking myself the question, why do I feel the need to go to the gym every day? Is it serving me to do this? What is the feeling I have? Why am I feeling guilty if I'm not going? What is that about? Like, financially, your gym membership going to waste? Is it not burning the calories?
Yeah.
Is it feeling like you're going to get worse? Well, actually, you're probably going to get better if you take a break. Like
I can relate to that question quite a lot, actually. Like, I feel if I don't do something one day a week, but I'm getting better at it, I don't know if it's a guilt thing because I feel like my body needs it. Is it a mental health thing? Is it a calorie thing if I'm watching that? I still can't figure it out, but I do make sure that I have a rest day in the week. However, if I rest with that, I do give myself a hard time, and I don't know why either.
Never been an issue for me. I just literally listen to my body. My body feels good, I train. If I don't, I rest. And I know myself, I feel better when I do move. Luckily, I have a little dog, so he gets me out
That
and
helps.
about. So a walk or 2 walks a day on a day I'm off, that's fine for me. I've moved around, even a little walk around the park or some fresh air. Like, people think all out training is how you get where you want to be in fitness. The recovery plays a huge role in that. If you're not sleeping or eating, giving your body time to repair itself, you're just going to like runaway train, like you said, but the track isn't even finished, and then you're just going to come off the end of it.
Yeah, and maybe hit a plateau, like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the previous
So
question.
maybe that's
There was something I was going to add there that I forgot now. What did you just say again, Linz?
What, the whole spiel?
Repeat your bit.
How I struggle with putting in rest days.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's given me the prompt. I certainly in my younger days, and maybe less so in the last couple of years, but Fabio said, listen to my body, and as we'll get to, there's your body and your brain, and sometimes I know that you can't always trust your brain. So I would. This is something I would struggle with, where I'd be like, do I really need a day off, or am I just being lazy? Because we've all had that time where you feel a bit meh, but actually once you get going, you feel good. Or if you've not trained, it gets to the point where if you take a lot of days off training, you're going to feel meh because you're not training.
Yeah. 100%.
And so it's do you need more rest, or now do you need to get moving again and get the energy back? So it's that question: do I really need a break, or am I just being lazy? Well, if you have data from your training, we use MyZone here at AKR, or if you know your schedule, if in the last month you've trained every single day, then you're not just being lazy. You can take the day off. And it's and also if your performance in the gym is plateauing and getting worse, then that's a sign then probably you can. Yeah. And a day off doesn't need to be nothing. If you're the sort of person that's going to feel guilty, you could do, there's an old way of looking at, I think this might have been a Paul Chek thing, where differentiating between working out and working in. So working out is you're using up energy in theory. I mean, it's going to energize you anyway, but working in would be more like stretching, mindfulness, walking, yoga, something low level. Yeah. And maybe that's a stepping stone for someone who finds it difficult to do nothing.
Yeah, I worked with a member during lockdown that we looked at her schedule, we tracked it for a couple of weeks and realised that every day she was doing something, but maybe more than one thing at a time. So there'd be a run and then a Zoom session, and then she would maybe do Super Saturday circuits and then a 10k run on the Sunday. And we had to figure out, okay, where are we going wrong here? You need to have a rest day, but she couldn't get in her head that she would be resting in lockdown. She needs to do everything she can. So we decided that her rest would be a Friday, but it would be more of a yoga or an active recovery or a walk. And what a game changer it was for our whole week. So it's just allowing yourself to implement that in the week and not feel guilty about it.
It's the expectation, is it, of what is required in order to to get fit or whatever, and also what's reasonable in things. And I think, again, I like the idea of asking yourself better questions. So what would be in my best interests today? If you're feeling totally burned out and whatever, okay, you're feeling guilty, but if now I might feel guilty about this, but what would be in my best interest today? Okay, well, I've trained every day for the last 2 weeks. I've been going at it hard. I'm super stressed at work. Would it be in my interest to go and beat myself up in the gym, or could I go for a massage, go for a walk, go do something else?
Yeah.
I think what you touched on there was really important, that idea of active recovery for people, or the individual who struggles to chill out and do nothing, like what you were saying there, walking, stretching, or some kind of activity which isn't too stressful or demanding on the body. I think is a good segue for you to transition into those rest periods.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And just one more thing as well, talking about the feelings and emotions. Feel the guilt and do it anyway. Do you know what I mean? I know I feel guilty, so feel the guilt. Guess what? Humans feel guilty sometimes.
Yeah. Good. Anything else to add?
No, just that everyone is individual and everyone will go through all these problems or issues everyone has, regardless of where you are on your journey. I think that's what everyone needs to remember. No one should be put on a pedestal, because we've all gone through these things.
Yeah. Okay, fun question to end. Dun, dun, dun. If you could gain one skill instantly, what would that skill be? Fabio?
I'm going to be annoying. Define skill.
Come on.
Michael, I think you should go first.
I think Lindsay she already had her answers prepared for this, so let's on you go, Lindsay.
Well, I'm stuck between two.
Otherwise, I'm going to steal your
No,
ones.
don't. I'm stuck between two.
Opportunity.
I know, I must. I'm stuck between two. So either free running and not having the fear of it, and just being able to go to a new city and jump about the buildings and have the best time ever.
Climb the skyscraper.
Exactly.
That would be cool.
That would be so good. Or be able to pick up any instrument and play it. That would also be very cool. I'd love a wee busking session in the middle of Union Street. Here's it.
Which instrument would you be going with?
Banjo. Isn't it?
I totally thought you'd be going like saxophone or something like that.
Straight out banjo.
The deliverance tune. Wow, that's a hard one. Going down the music route, I've always been inspired or in awe of people who play the piano. I think it's a really cool instrument to play. That's something you can jam on, like be very creative and like.
Especially when they
free.
have them in like the shopping malls, shopping centres, and you can just go in and
show off for a wee second.
Yeah.
Drop the bomb, drop the mic, and walk
Get a
off.
crowd.
I'm going to steal yours, parkour as well, because I think that's ace. It would be fun just to like wander about, be like, I'm going to
Imagine.
run up that wall.
It'd
and
be
go
so
over
good
there.
to see a new city.
Yeah, I do like watching
You'd never
the
be bored.
videos.
No.
Yeah, I always think when I watch these, these clips of these like incredible free runners, parkour people,
Fearless.
you think how many. I think of the tumbles and the injuries that they had to go through to get to that level of competency in their thing. Or the BMX guy, is it McCaskill, the Scottish guy?
Danny McCaskill.
Danny McCaskill,
Trial
yeah.
bikers. Yeah.
Amazing.
Stunts like that. It's like, ooh, how many? Like you don't get that good without having a few bumps along the way. So,
Always learning though.
Yeah.
Go on then, Mike.
I didn't. Escape
Come on.
I don't know.
Try to hide that one.
I don't know. Like I like those as well. The free running, the music stuff. Similar in the fields of entertainment could be. I was like, magic could be a cool one. Like when I say like I think the old school David Blaine street magic that I used to watch on Channel 4. That
Like close up hand magic.
yeah, and there's when he just goes up to strangers in the street and they're like, whoa. I think that I'd probably need to give it more.
That's good.
Deeper
Hey,
thought.
take that.
Let's see what else I can come up with. But
And it's quite a boring one for me. When I get another motorbike again, I want to learn how to wheelie properly. That would be a skill I would love to bust out.
Fabio, past the gym.
you see, that was a boring one.
Well, it's not like an amazing skill, but I love riding my motorbike. It's probably the longest period I've not had it, and I've always wanted to be able to have the cojones to try and do a wheelie. And that's one I'd like to do.
Do you know what else I think would be really cool if it's, I don't know what the rules of this game.
That's why I was like, where's the
they
spectrum of skills?
Yeah. But Lindsay said to be able to pick up any musical instrument. Right, that's the skill. She didn't just pick like one. So I would maybe like to do the same with language. So if you could just say instantly, I could speak every single language.
Amazing.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Don't know how your brain would cope with that. Don't know how many languages there are on the planet, but
Well, not. There's actually a Welsh gent who if he speaks like the most languages in the world, like 35 languages or something like that.
Yeah.
And in his interview, he literally just transitions from one to the other while he's talking about how he learned. It's amazing. I struggle with English most of the time.
You sure? Final answer.
That might be
Final
my
answer. Good. Right, we're going to wrap up the questions there with that one. And when this airs, the Monday before Christmas, and in that time, I think we've got our Nutcracker coming up. Ooh, have you been part of a Nutcracker?
I was part of the 2019 Nutcracker.
Do you think you can explain what it is?
That was pretty epic.
It was very epic. I don't know, how would you explain it? You take an oath, first of all, to AKR, just to warn everyone beforehand.
Sign here.
It's just Christmas themed. We all get in our get up. We have a bit of fun, banter, hard workout. I think it's like 12 days, is it, Christmas?
That's part of the finish. I'm not sure we're going to have that this year, but yeah, a big circuit full of sweaty elves, I would say.
Essentially.
Big old Christmas workout, Christmas tunes, last big hoorah before the festive break, maybe some mulled wine and festive treats.
I think we should get eggnog, mainly because I've never had it.
Yeah,
and
I've
it
not
seems
had
like
that
something we
either.
should have.
I don't know, do you even get that here?
I don't know.
I'm sure Amanda can make it.
Amanda, eggnog.
Amanda, shout out
Thank
to
you.
Amanda. Good stuff. So that is the end of episode 33. We all wish you a very Merry Christmas, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. #Energizing Life Podcast. Nailed it.